Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Public Policy Talks Thursday morning, 8:30 a.m. Good morning, y'all. Come on in and enjoy the fun this morning. All right, it is exactly 8:30 a.m. Exactly on the dot. We will get started momentarily. Thank y'all for coming in. Always a lot to talk about, or centered around public policy and Black businesses. Welcome in. We're going to have a fruitful conversation this morning. All right. All right. We've got Renee in, Lauren, Kim, Lisa. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Janae, good morning. All right. 8:31, starting in approximately 1 minute.
Good morning, Marky. Good
Good morning.
morning.
Good morning, Janae. Good morning. All right. Calvin Maddox, I see you out there. All
Good morning, Marky.
right, y'all. A lot to talk about. Good morning. Good morning. A lot to talk about. A lot has happened over the past week. I wish I could talk about everything centered around public policy from that local, the state, and the federal level, but there are some hot topics out there. Definitely are some hot topics. If I don't talk about what you're interested in, please bring it up during the comment section. We plan to definitely have a comment section. It is 8:32 a.m. My name is Marquis Tate, president of Advancing Black Businesses, chair of the board of the Atlanta Black Chambers. Thank you for your support out there, especially coming from the Atlanta Black Chambers membership. That's what Advancing Black Business is all about, is supporting you, Black business owners and Black consumers. We're looking to strengthen advocacy at the local, the state, and the federal levels. When it comes to you as a Black business owner and when it comes to you as a Black consumer. Welcome to Public Policy Talks. A lot to talk about this morning. We're going to be putting a survey and a poll in the chat, putting a survey and a poll in the chat today. We had a 3-question survey slash poll last week. So we want you to complete those polls. That's what we're all about, advancing Black businesses, surveying, researching basically what you are talking about. We started to create some of our topics based on the actual survey. So, but thanks for coming in. The ABC, DC, ABC. I said ABB. Also, DC Fly-In coming up. I'm sharing the screen now for those who are on your computers and can see your screen. We have the DC Fly-In coming September the 12th through the 15th. It's going to be a lively event. One reason is because of the VP is running. She has attended that event for the past, and that's the gala for the past several years. So it's going to be a lot of things going on in DC that week. You can go with the organization, Advancing Black Businesses, ABC, Atlanta Black Chambers. That's our DC Fly-In, September 12th through the 15th. We want to see you there. Also, we want to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, Friday, our first Friday going on at DeKalb Tech. We got some exciting speakers, including Lorraine Cocker and Johnson, Ronique West. We have Isaac Hayes III, and a few others that will be speaking on our first Friday tomorrow. Also, this weekend, if this screen flips okay, I am going to go to, where is it? Where is it? Right there. Some of my screen is being blocked. Let me say okay there. Georgia Legislative Black Caucus starts on Friday. Georgia Legislative Black Caucus. This information will go in the chat. We have the annual conference for the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus. Their chair, Representative Carl Gilliard, is doing a great job. Keep up the great work, Chairman. And the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus. They have several events going on starting tomorrow and Saturday. I will be attending the luncheon at New Birth. They have the breakfast and the luncheon at New Birth, but please go to that information. The information is in the chat. Looking forward to seeing each and every one there. This past Tuesday talks, if you were on Tuesday Talks, the ABC Tuesday Talks with our president and CEO of the ABC, Melvin Coleman. We had a special guest, Ron Busby of the United States Black Chambers. Ron talked a lot about the 5 pillars of the organization. He talked about contracting, and that's what I want to talk about is the contracting. Talked about the contracting percentage at that federal level, talked about what the USBC is doing at that federal level, and basically talked about what you heard from me is we're less than 2% of the contracts. He compared that to other minorities, Asians, Hispanics, we're under their percentages, and we have more businesses in this America than those organizations. He talked about some things that he is doing, the USBC is doing. Ron Busby is the chair of the committee within the MBDA, the Minority Business Development Agency. He talked about getting more contracts for you as a Black business owner. He mentioned the Buy Black certification. That's actually it's a running tab in the ABC's newsletter. If you have not registered your business, please register your business for the Buy Black certification. We're going to be assisting and pushing and helping the USBC and getting you more contracts at that federal level. Ron has an inside track being in DC, being that voice for Black businesses in DC and nationally to actually affect change when it comes to federal contracting. Also, several weeks ago, I actually asked for your capability statements. Please email me. I only have a handful of those capability statements. If you have your capability statements, we need those. I get calls, just got a call yesterday asking for minority certified businesses. So I generally send those over, a pack of those over when I get calls of those, so I can send yours over. You definitely have to be an ABC member. Have to be an ABC member. Couple of things I want to start with because there's a lot to talk about. The common request. There's been a common request that you requested for when it comes to public policy as it relates to Project 2025. Project 2025. I do have in my notes to be at least mention, and we'll put that in the chat later on about the vice president's visit to Georgia State's Convocation Center. Exciting time. I know some of you were there. I saw Marlene Foscue in the background of right behind the podium. So I know a lot of you were there supporting. A lot of energy was brought to Atlanta by the VP. Also, the NABJ interview, we'll be putting that in the chat throughout the meeting also with the former president. But I do want to start with Project 2025. A lot of you have requested that we talk about it on Public Policy Talks. Let me see how quick I can share my screen. I'm talking about it from the standpoint of a couple of different articles. There's an article is what TF is Project 2025 and why Black Americans should know. This is from one of our great periodicals, the Black Enterprise magazine. It actually talks about a few bullet points about Project 2025. Hopefully we don't hear any advertisement come up, but it talks about the best ways to look at Project 2025 is as a wish list for right-wing conservatives in nearly 1,000 pages of documents providing a thorough outline of how the next Republican administration could reshape federal government through the collection of policy proposals aligned with the far-right agenda. If we look at some of the bullet points that Black Enterprise actually pulls from that is it rolls back civil rights protections in employment and housing. It changes proposed in the Project 2025 would roll back civil rights protections and cut diversity, equity, and inclusion related programs, even though they're already cutting those in some of the corporations right now. It would roll back the LGBTQ rights in healthcare, education, and workplace. Get rid of federal agencies that help to ensure equity. Project 2025 calls for eliminating federal agencies such as the Department of Education, the CDC, the EPA. These agencies ensure equal access to education looking at the next bullet point, make it harder for underrepresented communities to access Head Start, Medicaid, and other federal programs. Also, limit access to food assistance. So, those are some of the points that were taken from Black Enterprise when it comes to Project 2025. That will go in the chat so you can actually go to that article. Also, Forbes magazine, Project 2025 Explain what to know about controversial right-wing policy map for Trump. As the director, one of the main architects of Project 2025 has stepped down. Project 2025 director Paul Dans actually has his resignation on this past Tuesday. Looking at some of those bullet points, Project 2025, some key facts in the Forbes magazine article. It's spearheaded by a conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation, with help from over 100 other conservative groups, is a multi-plan for the next conservative administration, namely a Trump presidency. Through the project is led by, again, the Heritage Foundation. The project has drawn most attention for its mandate for leadership. It's a 900-page proposed policy agenda. That's a link to the actual policy, almost 1,000 pages. It looks at the personnel they're talking about, broadly proposes to insert far more political appointees who are ideologically aligned with the president of the executive branch. Again, it talks about the federal agencies and doing away with even Department of Homeland Security, the National I can't even pronounce it, y'all. I'm getting tongue-tied here. The NOAA, the Consumer Protection Financial Black Enterprise article, climate change, abortion, big topic. It addresses that abortion. Again, the education and the school choice policy that directs public funds to be used for students to attend private religious universities. That was a topic in this past state legislature, Georgia legislative, or at the Gold Dome. That was a major topic. There was a bill that was passed. Student loans, talks about the student loan forgiveness. The Justice Department, DOJ, and getting rid of what it calls unaccountable, erratic managerial class of radical left. It's saying ideologies. So taxes, the Federal Reserve, the project seeks to reform the Federal Reserve, foreign relations, even health care. The project does not seek to overturn the Affordable Care Act, but would make significant cuts to Medicaid and impose work requirements and receive coverage. So that's part of that Project 2025. I wanted to actually go over some bullet points with 2025. 2025. So if you have any questions related to that, or really comments related to Project 2025, there it is. Also, the Vice President's website, Kamala Harris, we're definitely waiting to hear more about, her policy agendas. We're all about public policy here at Advancing Black Businesses. There has not been any policy agendas yet, but it should be coming sometime soon. Now, bouncing over
Marquis,
to, who is that speaking? Yes.
this is Deanna Harris. I want us to make sure that we're not tying the concept and that document of Project 2025 directly to former President Trump's current campaign agenda of what he wants for his administration. Two separate things. Those things are not together.
Yes, and Deanna, thank you for that. That's Deanna Harris, our lobbyist for Advancing Black Businesses. Thank you for bringing it up, because I just brought up the former president's website, and that Agenda 47. Please go look at that and compare that to Project 2025. There are the top 20 points of his Agenda 47. I'm not going to go through those, but I definitely wanted to point that out, since that's what that was the biggest request, is the Project 2025. And I wanted to actually bring that up and show you. But also officially, his official stance is the Agenda 47, the Agenda 47. All right. Just wanted to bring that up. Also, going to the answer, our answer is because we want to go all the way to Black agendas. And in the polling and survey on last week, most of you said that each candidate should have a Black agenda. Last week, I pointed out two of those Black agendas. I want to point out, excuse me, I pointed out four of those, brought up four of those. This will go in the chat. This is the United States Black Chambers 2023 on or around September the 12th with the 2024 policy priorities. But I wanted to, point out a few of these, the policy agendas, because this is what we call a Black agenda. This is specific to a Black business agenda. This is to support Black business development, ensure parity and access to capital by holding financial institutions accountable to addressing systemic racial biases, higher interest rates, and denial rates for Black firms. Foster congressional support for expansion of Black broadcast stations ownership by implementing tax benefits to incentivize Black media ownership. Federal departments and agencies should direct federal advertising dollars to Black-owned media companies. Increase support for implementing a Buy Black, I just mentioned that, Buy Black directory as a federally recognized Black-owned certification program. Some of these have actually already been accomplished. This was the 2023. We're coming up with the 2024. They'll be coming out with that again sometime soon. Support of the expansion of Black-owned franchise locations as a viable means of business ownership. Looking at increasing in federal contracting. There's 4 points there. Reform the SBA's 8A Business Development Program by advocating for reintroduction and passage of that Federal Contracting Fairness Act. Increase equity for Black firms in the SBA 8A program. That's something we'll be working on. It also mentions increasing sole source thresholds and ensuring parity with the ANC's Alaska Native Corporation sole source threshold. The ANC's threshold is $100 million in contracts that can be awarded to them by sole source. The regular 8A firm, Black firms, is much less than that. It's barely 10% of that for sole source. Double the aggregate percentage of contracts going to small business firms from that 1.67% to 4%. All right, those are some of the points of that Black agenda. I wanted to point that out with the United States Black Chamber. United States Black Chamber. Also, last week, I actually brought up the ADOS Advocacy Foundation. I actually talked about this along with the Congressional Black Caucus's plan, along with the Black Economic Alliance plan. I wanted to bring up the ADOS Advocacy Foundation plan, mainly because it's a robust Black agenda. This agenda actually came out in 2019, and it was a request during the 2020 presidential election cycle. And it's very specific to Black businesses. There's several sections, including agriculture, even cannabis, environmental section. This is the business section of the ADOS Advocacy Foundation. The Biden-Harris administration must issue an executive order recognizing the need for specific economic uplift of Black Americans. There were executive orders that were issued to Hispanics and the API. This order must create a permanent, listen to this, White House initiative on Black Americans' economic uplift and full economic inclusion. So this was directed towards the Biden-Harris administration in the 2019-2020 election cycle. So the Biden-Harris must create a national program for Black American business enterprise. In addition, the administration must audit banks annually to measure fairness in lending practices and hold banks accountable for discriminating against Black American borrowers and denials, interest rates, fees, and penalties. The Biden administration must commit to providing a grants and zero interest loans specifically targeted to us as Black business owners. 15% of the SBA loans must go to Black-owned businesses. 15% of the contracts, 15% of the government media expenditures. So this is somewhat similar to the Black print. Also, So this is part of the ADOS Advocacy Foundation's requests for a Black agenda. And the reason why I bring those up, I started out with the Project 2025. I went all the way over to what are Black agendas. Also, if you think about Project 2025, you go all the way to the other side, which is really an answer to Project 2025, is a true Black agenda that we should be demanding. I said be demanding, and I really mean it in that fashion. What is the time? The time is 8:50. The time is 8:50. I want to end on this before we go into making comments. I want to hear from you. Please go in and take those surveys. There's a couple of surveys that have been put or is going to be put in the actual chat for you to answer questions. We have some very specific questions about the VP, very specific questions that we want to know and want to hear from you about that. But again, relating Project 2025 to a Black agenda and talking about supporting a negative agenda to supporting a positive agenda. I want to explain what I just said. When you support a negative agenda, you are looking at what you don't want to happen as a group. And as a group, I mean there is one of the polls right there. That is actually a poll that we want you to answer. That is, why are you voting for, we have on there, no disrespect, but we can only put so many characters in the question. Why are you voting for Kamala? Why are you voting for the VP Harris? Why are you voting? Look, I don't know if you can see that. Raquel, can everyone see that on the screen?
Yeah, people are voting.
Can everyone? They are voting right now. They are voting right now. So why you are voting? Thank you so much, Raquel, and thank you for your support in helping me during this public policy talks. Definitely always got to mention that. Sometimes I forget to thank Raquel. But hey, everybody, a negative agenda is when you're voting for or against something happening. You're voting against Project 2025 or Agenda 47. That's a negative agenda when you're voting for someone because you don't want someone to actually get in office. That's supporting a negative agenda or eventually voting for a negative agenda. We're thinking about a positive agenda going over to a Black agenda. You're driving a Black agenda. You're pushing the candidate. You're pushing VP Kamala Harris towards a Black agenda. In our last poll, you said each candidate, for the most part, about 80%, 84% of you stated that you wanted the candidates to have a Black agenda. Well, I showed you two Black agendas from the U.S. Black Print. The Black Print, I showed you the ADOS Advocacy Foundation's Black agenda, the business section. That is supporting a positive agenda. When you think about where we are as a community, last week, for the ones who were on last week, I talked about the racial wealth gap, where it stems from the survey of consumer finances. We have 4% of the wealth in America, while we're 14% of the population. The white community has over, or really almost 90% of the wealth in America. When you have an income in the city of Atlanta, because Atlanta, just last week by Bankrate, or week before last, an article came out where they said Atlanta has, again, the most extreme inequality. The average income is sitting under $30,000 for Black people living in Atlanta. The average income under $30,000. That is very tough to live in this America when you're averaging $28,000 to be exact, $28,000 average. So voting for a positive agenda is what we should be looking at more than voting for a negative agenda. So looking at those results, there is 19%. She is a Black woman with why are we voting for Kamala Harris? She is a Black woman and with political experience. That is 19%. She is the better choice. That is 63%. Her policy agenda, that's 25%. You got 6% not voting for Kamala. We have 13% that's undecided. and we have another reason. So we're going to read those another reasons because I want to say, Raquel, can they add in the reason, another reason? Or was that okay? I see. Please answer question number 2. That's what we changed that to. All right. Another
No, there
reason.
is,
Okay, we got some comments.
they can write in, they can write it in.
They can write it in. All right. All right, y'all. Y'all see the survey. Let's go to the question comment section. It is 8:55. We may go over just a few minutes depending on how long we have the question and comments. And am I still sharing my screen? Raquel, am
No,
I
you're
still
not.
sharing
You
my
are
screen?
fine. It's just your face, Marky.
All right. Thank you, Raquel. All right. And let's see, I am in that mode. Let me go to the gallery mode. All right. Any hands raised? Anybody want to make a comment out there? What's going on in y'all's world when it comes to public policy? All right. We got Robert Johnson. What's going on, Robert Johnson?
Hey, good
You
morning,
on
good
the
morning.
screen?
Beautiful.
Come on away from around that screen if you want. But go ahead, Robert.
All right, good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for the topics discussed. I think it's really, really critical. Everything that you said, Project 2025 and Trump's agenda. I personally work in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I have a question and a comment. The question is, what's the appetite for ABC to have a DEI task force? Because we can't have government and corporate organizations removing DEI that affects us disparately and disproportionately compared to other races, genders, and ethnicities, so on and so forth, and not have a response. That's the first question. Do we have one, right? I just joined a few months ago, and then what's our appetite for that? The second comment is, yes, there are a lot of companies that are publicly withdrawing from DEI, but there are even more companies that are privately moving forward with the work. And so I think it's important that I just signed a new client, Lucid Motors. Lucid is a 7-year-old EV company that's in competition with Tesla, right? The work is being done despite what we see in the news, and I think that's why it's incumbent upon us to have a team that can pull the facts from the fiction, right? Even when it comes to our political, choices, there's a lot of noise, but there's not a lot of diving into the facts, even having a team to do it for us, right? Like you do a wonderful job bringing us updates on what's going on policy related. So because I'm squarely in that work, would love to know your thoughts on that. As we do have many, many allies still in the work. JP Morgan is a huge advocate and has amazing programs, not perfect, right? No organization has perfect programs, but there are organizations that still do the work. So those are my thoughts. And just thank you to everyone who is moving forward, pushing through. I just believe we have to begin to play even more strategic chess, right? And not play checkers.
All right. I got you. Thanks a lot, Robert. Appreciate that question and comment. Yes, I'm definitely all for starting a DEI task force and even a broader task force to look at a lot of issues out there. So, Robert, let's have a conversation about that. You seem to be somewhat, I call, an expert in that area by the comments that you made and what you do on a daily basis. So let's schedule a conversation to talk more about DEI task forces and having some answers to what's going on, particularly in the Atlanta metropolitan area where we have many, many Fortune 500 companies. A lot of conversation in and around the DEI. I truly think that when it comes to DEI, when it comes to affirmative action, we get the crumbs of that. If we think about the affirmative action when it was started by LBJ, he announced that on the steps of Howard University. And it was for us. We share that DEI space with other minorities. And that's my main issue with that is when we talk about DEI, we talk about it from a standpoint of all minorities. And I definitely understand that, but we are a special group in America. We descend from slavery for the most part as Black people in America. We have a special experience. We are a resilient group of people, and we should be treated accordingly and very special because of where we descend from and what we went through that no other group in America has gone through what we have gone through in the United States of America. So we are a special group. We should have our own category We should have just like the Native Americans, they have their own category. They received about $30 billion from the American Rescue Plan. Plus, they received a piece of the minority stake in the American Rescue Plan of those dollars. That's how we should be treated in America. I think next, Montina. What's going on this morning? I think it's your birthday today also. What's going on, Martina?
Good morning. Yeah, it was yesterday. Appreciate that. Good morning. Good morning. So I'm going to make mine quick. I have to actually jump on another meeting, Georgia Tech, but I appreciate what you said towards the end of what you stated with the DE&I. We have I'm part of GMSDC, the Georgia Minority Supplier Development Council. We focus on DE&I. We focus on minorities. And so when we start having the conversation about everyone except us or bringing everyone in, it's kind of like the NAACP was for colored people. My great-great-grandmother said, I'm not Black, I'm colored. We bring in everybody into conversations. But I have my comment I'm going to say here. And all I'm going to say is I wish that we as American descendants of slavery, Black Americans, could take our feelings out of the mix and just listen to people speak. Listen to understand, listen without so many emotionally charged feelings. Initially, the VP Kamala Harris identified as Indian until she became vice president. She identified as Indian. I have a half Filipino son-in-law. I have a half white daughter-in-law. My half Filipino son-in-law was raised in the Black community. His Filipino mother raised with the Black side of the family. My half white daughter-in-law was raised with her white side of the family. I'm going to tell you, culturally speaking, there are differences we just need to recognize. She is doing some pandering to the Black community, in my opinion. The Asian community is not stepping up to assist her right now. And what I don't understand is why we feel like as a community, we just have to accept everybody that looks like us. No one else does it but at us. And at some point, we have to start looking out for ourselves. At the end of the day, for me, my focus, as you all know, is local politics. I'm an advocate for local politics. There's a lot going on in our local communities. So again, that's just what I want to state here. We just really are emotionally charged all the time. And some of us just need to just tone it down a little bit and just listen. We don't have to react and speak to everything. But with that said, I have to jump off to another meeting.
All right. Thank you for popping in, Montina. You bring up some points, y'all. You bring up some points that's being discussed in the Black community, definitely outside of the Black community. And again, it goes back to that negative agenda supporting negative agenda versus supporting a positive agenda. I think that we need to dissect and research, all aspects of a candidate. I think we need to definitely be careful in what we say and what we do and actually what we support. I am asking you to look at the policies, from 2025, Agenda 27, look at the VP's policies. I'm waiting definitely for that to be shown on the website to have an official policy stance and agenda. She was in it. The VP was in Atlanta, said some great things. I'm definitely, please watch that. That rally. You had a lot of great speakers. Some of our leaders from our U.S. senators, from Senator Warnock to Senator Alsop, Stacey Abrams was on the mic. So just watch policy more than anything. The actual data that I've actually talked about, from the Black business revenue data to the wealth data in our community, it demands that we push for a Black agenda, no matter who the candidate is. So I want everybody, Black business owners, ABC members, start paying more attention to the policies on both sides. Our ancestors demand that you do. We don't just go out and give our vote away. And I definitely understand why we are excited about this election. I definitely understand. I am excited about the VP, Kamala Harris, in this election. She has brought a lot of excitement to the Democratic Party. But again, we need to definitely push for a Black agenda, no matter who that candidate is. And that's what I really want to see, that type of excitement to close that racial wealth gap. We need to continue to have that conversation. We need to ask those tough questions. Hayden, I see that you're on. What time is it? It is 9:04. You got 30 seconds, Hayden. What's going on? We got to get out of here. Hayden, unmute yourself. Hayden Singleton, co-chair of the Governmental Affairs of the ABC. All right, Hayden, are you still on mute?
So
All right, y'all.
real quick, Marquis, I just need to some of the anonymous responses from the polls are here, and I just want to clarify something. We're going to conduct polls and we're going to conduct surveys. The polls are to be quick, kind of trendy topics, just to kind of gauge your temperature. We are eliciting, we are looking for an emotional response just to kind of keep the engagement going within this community. So if you have like a hot topic, something that's going on in the media that you want to see in a poll, just to see how we in this audience feel about what's being said, that's what we're going to use the polls for. The surveys are more in-depth research that we're going to do to kind of present the statistics later on to just help move the needle in our community. So I just wanted to clarify that. Here are some of the responses from the anonymous responses from the poll. Other reason, she has the knowledge and experience. Not only is she the better choice, but also because Trump hates Muslims. As a Muslim, I cannot vote for a president who passed a Muslim ban in his first term. She is qualified and is the vice president of the United States. Someone also put in here, Kennedy is running. There's a comment, no dictator in office, but really have not desired the independent candidate, don't like just the two-party system, have many grievances with the traditional options. Black woman, someone put in there, she's going to uphold the funding that was made available through the Biden administration because of the executive orders 14091 and 13985, which would not be present with the Trump administration. I do not think that Dr. Cornel West will win the seat. She is the better choice versus the Republican candidacy. She is a Democratic. The other option is not an option. Democracy is at stake and is a major concern regarding our country and culture in Black America and small business. This cannot go unanswered and ignored. Those are the 11 responses.
11 responses. We're hearing from you, ABC members. We're hearing from you. That is great. I know Hayden put it in the chat also. The next conservative administration should take affirmative steps to expose and eradicate the practice critical race theory, diversity, equity, and inclusion throughout the Treasury Department. These steps will include identity. Every Treasury official who participated in DEI initiatives and interview him or her for the purpose of determining the scope of nature of these initiatives and to assure that such initiatives are completely ended. Make public immediately all communications related to the work of the Treasury, the critical race theory, and DEI initiatives. Treat the participation in any critical race theory or DEI initiative without objecting on constitutional or moral grounds as a per se grounds for termination of employment. So that was comments that are in the chat from Hayden Singleton, since he had some technical problems with his audio. All right, y'all. This is the time to end. It's 9:08. Thank you for joining ABB's Advancing Black Businesses Public Policy Talks. Please go to our website, advancingblackbiz.gov. Check out what we're all about. Also, donate. You can donate to the Advancing Black Businesses. Also, we are a political advocacy organization, a 501c4. Thank you for joining us this week. Get ready for some more excitement in public policy at that local, the state, and the federal level. Again, the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus annual conference starts on tomorrow. Along with, definitely want to see you tomorrow at First Friday, the ABCs, one of the biggest events of the quarter of the year is our First Friday events. We're going to have a great time. Looking forward to seeing you there. Looking forward to seeing Melvin Colbert, our president and CEO of Atlanta Black Chambers. All right, thank you, Atlanta Black Chamber members. Thank you, guests. Looking forward to seeing y'all sometime soon. Until next week, y'all have a great one. Bye. Thank you, Raquel. Great job. Yeah. Appreciate the survey, the polls, putting all the information in the chat. The chat is right lively right now. Thank you so much, everyone. Y'all have a good day. All right.